So how do you get some rusty, dusty poo water out of carpet? The short answer is you don't. So in this video, I'm going to share with you exactly how this rusty, dusty poo water got on top of brand new carpet and how we're going to go ahead and patch it out. So what's cracking is Carpet Mike here from CarpetExpertBlueprint.com, bringing you the tips, tricks, and strategies so you could be a mega success in the carpet and flooring industry. But we just lobbed off that gross poo water right there. And don't worry, we're going to get to the story on how that got there. But first things first, you're going to need a blade. You're going to need a seam iron. You're going to need seam tape, and you're going to need some patience with a steady hand to make this happen. So first things first, got a fresh blade and the knife. I'm folding this part of the carpet back and I'm just tracing one of the lines on the backing. Now, if you've never done this before, carpet backing, when you look at it closely, is made up into a grid. And if you trace the lines on the running rows just right, it'll give you a nice straight line. Don't worry about it. You could always throw a straight edge on it if you don't want to do that. Now this one, we're just going to lob a nice clean edge on it. That's the cross row there. So we're going to lob that off. And this is what we're going to start with this piece here. So we got two of the three sides ready to rock with a nice clean seam edge. This is the piece we're going to patch it in with. So we're going to go ahead and throw a nice fresh edge on this. That's the running row. So we're going to go ahead and trace a line all the way down. And then once we get that out of the way, we'll go ahead and do a little template on that cross seam there. Try and keep the camera angles oh so perfect for you here so you can follow along. Let's get rid of all this excess here that we're not going to need. Make our life easier. Maneuver things faster. All right, we got that out of the way. Boom. So we got this lined up. Everything's good, right? Now we have to go ahead and get the side piece lined up. So we're going to go ahead and fold that back, overlap it on top of this piece, and then I'm just going to poke some holes in it with my knife, cutting little slits in between the fibers. Make sure you're not cutting any of the fibers. You're just kind of working your blade in between them and making a template of it, and you're going to play connect the dots, and that is going to get your seam ready. Now, you can basically watch what I'm doing right here to be okay. Let's talk about how that rusty, dusty poo water got on top of the carpet. So, a client of mine had his basement fill up with poo water, just backed up on him, all bad. So the cleaning company came in, they gutted his whole basement, cut out the drywall, took everything out there, took the carpet out there, the tack strips, everything, gutted it. They left his fitness equipment in the basement. So nobody thought that metal fitness equipment could be damaging in any way, shape, or form. I would have probably guessed the same too. So anyway, he's got like, I don't know what you call it, a squat rack, something like that, and it's sitting in there, right? Sitting in the other room. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to get that room done first, and then we're going to move everything onto that piece of carpet. It's going to be our office. We're going to be good to go, right? So we go ahead and I slide that piece into the other room. No big deal. I blast in the carpet in that room to get it all set up, and now we can't slide it back in. It has to be lifted up. Now, there was so much poo water in the basement, I'll talk about like a couple feet worth, right? That when we lifted the piece to bring it back in, it tipped, and the crossbar on it had stagnant, funky water sitting in it for weeks, and it just spilled out all over the carpet there. Now, once it spilled out all over the carpet, my natural reaction was to just start wiping it up right away. Whereas my buddy Chase Nasty was all like, bro, what are you doing? You got a blot, man. It's like an American Gangster when he shoots a guy, and the dude's all rubbing in his new carpet, and he's all like, no, blot. I didn't blot. I rubbed it all in. It was a hot mess. So, that's why we're patching it in. All reality, something like that falls on the carpet, it ain't coming out anyway. You got to patch it in. Back to the video here. We just cut our third lineup. Make sure everything is all the way nice and tight. Boom, boom, boom. All right, we're good to go. So let's go ahead and get a seam iron going. Let's get some seam tape under this. We are going to put this together so you could do the same because, I mean, let's be real. This is a common thing. This happens to people every day. I'm sure it's happened to you 20 times already. This never happens to anybody. This is a once-in-a-lifetime type scenario. But let's go ahead and make it more realistic. Your dog came by and chewed a hole in the carpet, and we got to patch it in. Okay, that's the scenario you need to follow along. So first, we got the running row. We got the seam tape under that. Now we're going to go ahead and do the cross joint. And then I'm going to go ahead and give you the pattern rundown, how we're going to go ahead and burn all this together. Because there is kind of a pattern to it. Not the carpet, just the route you should take when patching stuff together. So we're going to go ahead and do the running seam first. Reason being is we want that corner to line up perfectly there. And by the time we hit to the other corner, we'll make sure that is lined up perfectly as well. You don't want to start all the way at the top and make a U shape with the iron because one of the rows may not line up. So it's better to start there, make sure your running seam is all the way good, and then we can go ahead and fan out each way from there in 2 different phases, as I'm going to show you in this, to go ahead and get a good result with this. And on top of it, this is thick, fuzzy carpet right here. It is super easy to patch stuff that looks like this. So if a bad thing was going to happen, this is the type of carpet to have it happen with. All right, so we're doing a spin with the seam iron there. We're going to put the first part of the seam together. Everything's good. Now let's go ahead and shoot out this part of the seam. And when you're timing it out, just count, 8-10 seconds while it's sitting in one place. Slide it an iron's length forward, blend it in, and then go ahead and keep pressing forward. If you've never done a carpet seam before, just keep in mind, you don't want the carpet fibers to fall down into the glue whatsoever. You want carpet backing, touching carpet backing, and that is it. Boom, so we're just blending this in, everything's good. We got some slick shots of the final product too. It's so great. So almost to the end of this one. Then we're going to have to fall back to the first seam. And the reason we're doing that is we want to make sure the first half is all lined up and everything's good. Assuming we did our job correctly, the last part of the seam should be perfect, just slop and pop, ready to go. So let me get you a view on this here. And I actually struggle with the seam tape a little bit on this one. So I got to mess with that a little bit. Oh, bunching up. Can't have that. Make sure everything's nice and straight. All right, cool. Now we're in good shape. Always make sure your seam tape is running straight under your seams, because if it rolls off on you while you're burning the seam, you're heating up pad and no seam tape. And then your seam falls apart instantly. So keep an eye on the tape. Make sure it's staying straight under the carpet there so you're good to go. We're going to knock this out here. You'll see if we did a decent patch on this one. Yeah, spoiler alert, I got my money. It turned out fine. So I'm going to go ahead and work that iron out on this one. Almost to the finish line. And like I said, when you're timing them out there, 8 to 10 seconds each time. Then go ahead and move it forward, blend it in. No fancy tools needed. Like I said, we did this with an iron, seam tape, and a utility knife with a lot of replacement blades. Biggity bam. Look at that. Oh, that's how you patch in a funky spot on your carpet. Now, if you got any questions about the carpet and flooring industry, you could drop those down below. As always, I truly appreciate you tuning into this. Thank you so much, and I'll see you on the next video.